Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts talk show. And welcome back, many of you who may have been with us on last week and the weeks following that. We're so happy to be here with you as it is every Wednesday at 7:30 until 8 o'clock. Now, we're going to be talking about a few things that are happening in Washington on today, and a few things. We're also going to hit on the tragic event that took the lives of two people. One young man, only 17 years old, a very astute and erudite student who needlessly lost his life for no reason. What a heinous, deviant crime that was. We'll talk about that in a few minutes right now. And then we're going to talk about what went on in Washington with Donald Trump, what's going on in Washington with Donald Trump, and many of these women who have who are accusing him of sexual inappropriateness with them. But first, we want to talk about our school and the things that we do over there. Of course, we are a music school, and we teach all of the instruments except for the string instruments. We do not teach the violin, we do not teach the cello, nor the viola. But we do teach all the band instruments, that is to say trumpet, the saxophone, baritone horn, bass horn, the flute, the drums, you name it, the guitar. We teach all of that over at our school. Now, for those of you who have been wanting to learn how to play an instrument for many years and have been putting it off, here's an opportunity to get that dream of yours accomplished. So you give us a call. You can call us here at the station. It's 312-738-1060. And the number is on your screen there. Or you may call our facility, the school itself, and that would be 773-891-1875. By the way, my name is Joe Pace, and I've been hosting this show for about over 2 years now. And so some of you may be kind of familiar with me, at least to the extent that you tuned in once or twice. So first I want to share something with you. This is going to be, I'm going to show you some of the instruments. Sometimes people say that a picture is 1,000 words, and so I'm going to show you some pictures of some things here. If I can find them. I'm a little disorganized on today because I had so many things to attend to on yesterday, and then today also, until I wasn't able to do some of the things that I needed to do. But I'm going to show you this right here, and you can see this for yourself. I want you to see those instruments as they're up there. Okay. Can you see that? Yes, you can. It's a little, a little bitty. Don't worry about the little paper. It's torn slightly there. That's one of our flyers. We really give those out. Now you can see those instruments on there. Every one of those instruments we teach here at Coltrane Conservatory of the Arts. And if you have a piano around there like a lot of you do, and you've been wanting to learn how to play it, now you have an opportunity to find out what our program is all about. We have a caller, and we want to welcome you, caller. Are you on the phone? Caller, are you there?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm the one, Steve. I spoke to you last week.
I remember
Yeah,
you.
I remember you over there on 63rd over there back in
Exactly.
the day. But listen, I think you're doing a heck of a good job. Today I
Thank
passed
you.
your building, and I see you over there by the grand ballroom. Do you remember
Yes,
on the other
we're
side?
right next to the Grand Ballroom, in
Yeah.
fact.
You remember the other, it used to be the Buttland. They used to be over there across the street
That
back
is the
in the
most
day.
historical area. The Persian Lounge, a bunch of things were over there. That is a
Yes.
very historical area
Yes.
that we have there in Chicago, especially when it comes down to the promotion and development of jazz here in Chicago.
Yes, it is. But listen, we talked about Donald Duck last week,
Yes, we did.
our president.
Okay.
Did you see what he said about the drug dealers?
I
He
beg your
says,
pardon.
let's kill the drug dealers. Now, you know he wasn't talking about the cartel. I'm assuming he's talking about the low-level drug dealers. Now, if he really wanted to stop something, why didn't he go against those cartel? Those cartel people be over here on him and make him and Tweety Pie, Jeff Sessions, look very bad. If you're going to really do something, do it. Put your mouth and you make it work. I admire you. Look what you did from the day that I knew you from then and what you're doing now. You're giving back. That's what a human being supposed to do when something is given to you so freely. He got the presidency so freely or paid for it or you Putin or somebody, but he need to learn to do something correctly. I don't understand his agenda, what he want to do, but that's what he want to do. And
Uh-huh.
then, like you say, all the women come and want to sue him. What kind of mess is this? I mean, this is the year of 2018, and we living in the world. I would have never, ever expected that we would have a president of the United States sitting on the highest office in the United States and the biggest fool in the world. So again, we got to deal with it. What we need to do, start getting the young people out to vote. The younger, they took it out of the schools, so we need to do something to teach them about politics so they will learn, so we get some younger people in. But I don't want to hog the show up.
All
But
right. Well,
I
Steve,
told you, I promised you I was going to look at you this week.
yeah, and we appreciate you calling. You made some very good points. Okay.
All
What
right,
I
let me
want to
get out
do.
the air so I can hear your response.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Now, he made some very good points. One point I want to sort of extend on is that the youth will be the ones that will eventually make the changes that we need to make in this country. The old farts and those people that are sitting around in Washington twiddling their fingers, they're not going to be the ones that will make the changes because for the most part, the way things are now is working very well for them. You notice the young people from Douglas High there in Parkland, Florida, how they kept on until now. There have been some changes made. There may need to be more changes, of course there due, but with respect to guns and how easily it was to get them in Florida, and I believe it's called the bump stock, I believe it is, that thing that turns it into an automatic weapon. Those things have now been outlawed, and it's because of those young people there at that Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. So, back in the day, and I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama, back in the day, when we were, excuse me just a moment there, I have something that just came on. I want to see if I can get that off. Nope, it's not going to go off. All right, we'll just turn it. Anyway, back in the day, when I was a young person coming along, we engaged in protests. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama, as I said, and we engaged in protests against the way in which the injustices, I should say, there in Birmingham, Alabama. And if you, many of you have seen the hoses being put on young people, and some older people, but mostly young people, along with the dogs and that type of thing. And me and my buddies, we were right there in the thick of things, doing what we had to do. And like I tell people all the time, you don't even think about the danger, the dogs, or the police, batons, or any of that stuff when you're that age, you know. You just know that there's something that's awful unjust, and because it's so unjust, it needs to be made right. And you have the courage and the energy to help make it right. And that's what happens. And it just seems like in all eras, no matter what era it is, that the young people, I've been waiting on a long time. I'm so happy for the Black Lives Matter people, those are young people, because I've been waiting a long time, because we had, here in Newton, we had Rap Brown, we had Jesse Jackson, we had Martin Luther King, we had Adam Clayton Powell, we had Angela Davis, we had people we could follow. We had people who were there and would give their life for justice, And so I've been waiting on young people to really rise, and that's going to happen again, even more so than what it did before, to rise up and say, we've had enough of this, Because, our country, we talk a good game. My country tells of thee, 'tis thee of liberty. And then we go along and then we say, what is it? Justice and freedom for all. And all of this is real good talk. But when it comes down to it, the walk is anything but good. In fact, the walk is very bad. And if you go back and you see some of the things that were written by the so-called forefathers, I think about a speech that we had to learn in school by Patrick Henry. And I believe that he said something in there about give me liberty or give me death. And at the time that he wrote that, our people were in bondage, black people in this country. And it's a shame that people were writing these eloquent, erudite speeches, and they themselves had their foot on a people in such a way until it is still as criminal as it was then. It's thought of as criminal today as it was then. And so we talk a real wonderful talk, and that's why when you see those NFL players who were protesting the brutal murdering of young black boys here in Chicago and around the country by white police officers, you see them taking a stand against that, and Trump attempting to make it into a thing about the flag, and that he is, and that by them doing that, that's disgracing veterans and people of that type. Well, I'm a veteran, and it darn sure did not disgrace me. I was so happy to see them take a stand, because many guys who, when they get, and not only am I a veteran, but I'm a veteran who have several medals having served in Vietnam. But the bottom line is the gross inequity and the injustices in this country must first be dealt with before we can set up and talk about land of liberty and justice for all and all of this. It's a bunch of crap until such time that this country can actually say they're doing what they're preaching. See, when you talk like that, you have to walk that walk. You can't talk like that and have all of these hateful, bias and racist rules and laws, And the federal government went along with this over the years, as you know. That's why people are so wanting to be paid for the things that the forefathers of the black race of people worked the lands and whatnot to build this country up to where it is. And I don't think this country would be where it is if it hadn't been for the people of African descent providing all of that free labor for hundreds of years. I don't think it would be where it is today if it had not been for that. And so black people have actually laid the foundation, certainly helped to lay the foundation for this country. And that is why so many people have filed suits in court for reparation, because they feel as though the labor and the free labor and the struggling and suffering that the forefathers of African Americans went through deserve to be reparated, and that in fact this is really the people who are living today, who are still carrying on in this country, African Americans. This is a heritage, This is their heritage, and so sometimes people say, well, how can it be paid? Can it be paid by this way, that way, this way? Don't worry about that. Pay it by giving people free education. You can pay it by lowering the tax rates on people's property. It can be paid many different ways. It can be paid in cash money. Oh yes, it can. But it needs to be paid, and I believe that one day in this country it will be paid because it's justifiable, It's not like, in other words, when you earn something, you deserve to be paid. And I don't care what kind of crooked and evil and mean laws there are in a land, that does not take away from the fact that when you have labored sun up to sundown, you deserve to be paid for that. And I don't care about any laws. I'm talking about the laws of the universe. Forget about these laws in some corrupt country, and that, because that's what I call it, the laws of a corrupt country. Forget about that. I'm talking about the laws of the universe. And I think everybody who's listening to me and anybody in the world who's got that much morality in them and that much sense would agree that when you have labored, you deserve to be paid. And black folks labored for generations and didn't get paid one nickel. Okay, all right, now let's leave that alone. I want to just talk to you a few minutes about what's going on in Washington, folks, because it's really egregious, it's shameful, it's embarrassing, it's an insult to this country, the things that are going on in Washington. A third woman has come up and said that Mr. Trump sexually abused her in some way or another. And this has really gotten to be way over the top to have the President of the United States in these predicaments that most of us don't know anyone who's in that type of situation that our president is in. Now let me say this right here. This individual, talking about Donald Trump, was first of all a gambling casino owner. Gambling casino owners usually are in cahoot or some sort of association with mobsters, because mobsters are all over the Las Vegas gambling scene, so to speak. And because of that, now we have a president sitting in the White House who has this type of background. He's also a reality show host. We know what that's all about. The three women that have accused him, one is a porn star. The other is a reality, I guess, some sort of person that was on that show. And then the other one is a Playgirl bunny. Is that what I should say, Playboy bunny, Playboy magazine bunny. That's the kind of situation that we are dealing with. Now, what do we expect our president to be like coming from this type of background? These women said that he groped them inappropriately. One woman said that she was actually raped by this man. And he's sitting in the White House. On this week alone, he congratulated Vladimir Putin on winning the election there in Russia. And he was told, he was advised not to do that because this man has done some bad things in the Ukraine, in Syria, and other places around the world. But Trump chose to do it anyway. And guess what, folks? Somebody leaked that. And when they leaked that information, we don't know who it was. He doesn't know who it was. He was fuming because nobody was supposed to find out that he had been advised not to do it. I don't know what this man is hiding. I don't know why he's so afraid of Vladimir Putin, but it's something going on, folks, that this is an individual who has been mean, has insulted people, has abused women, and suddenly he's treating Putin with kid gloves. I mean, Putin can't do any wrong. Everybody else, though, even senators, I remember he called Senator Flaky. He called Kim Jong-un a little fat man or something of that type, a little fat rocket man. He referred to this gentleman, I think it was McCain. He referred to McCain as being other than a hero. He said he was why is he a hero? Simply because he was caught. You know, said I think the heroes are those who didn't get caught. He's talked about everybody. He slammed on everyone, and suddenly he's now the president of the United States of America. I think this country is in big trouble if this man is not impeached and gotten rid of. Because the bottom line is that he's driving this country into the ground. And if we don't raise these red flags, he's going to continue to do that. And lastly, folks, as I go off the air, the so-called Christian evangelists, those people, you all ought to be ashamed of yourself. Jesus must be spinning in his grave that you call yourself claiming Christianity as your faith. Because anybody who would stand by and let this man do what he's doing without protesting vehemently could never be a Christian. So that's going to be it, folks. I wish I had another half hour to talk about that part, but I don't. We'll see you on next time. Listen, tune in next week because that's our last show, okay? Alrighty, thanks a lot, folks, for watching. Talk to you later. Take care.